Okay, gang, this is Professor Nassar again. Now I have the larynx set up, and what I want to teach you about the larynx is the following. There are a few different cartilages that we associate with the larynx. On this model, you can see in some cases, this side has muscle and glandular tissue on it. This side has all of that stripped off. So let's go through this side first. This is superior, this is inferior. This is the top, this is below. Here are your cartilages for your trachea. All of these are cartilages with the exception of this first structure here, number 1, which is your hyoid bone. We saw this back in A&P I when we were studying anatomy of the skull. This is the structure that supports the root of your tongue. This is the only bony feature that we're going to be looking at here, and there are going to be some structures that attach to it. The next structure is this large structure here, number 2, which is your thyroid cartilage. You can see it's very, very broad. Thyro means shield, and it basically protects all of the softer structures that we will find inside. So here is your thyroid cartilage. Here it's covered by muscle, and here it is up here. This is the anterior view of your larynx. Here is what's called the Adam's apple. When you feel your bump on the middle of your throat, the prominence here that you're feeling is part of your thyroid cartilage. You can see that the thyroid cartilage is completely protects the front of your airways here, but when you flip it around to the posterior side, you can see that it's open. There's no continuous ring of cartilage on the posterior surface. The next piece of cartilage is a complete ring of cartilage. It's a modified tracheal ring, number 3. That is your cricoid cartilage. Then you have tracheal cartilages throughout. Notice that in humans, the tracheal cartilages are not complete rings. They are C-shaped. They go around continuously along the front, but when you get to the posterior side, there is a membrane there called a tracheal membrane that connects this side of the cartilage with this side of the cartilage. And then that's the inside of your windpipe. And that opening that you see at the very end there, that little cleft, is called the glottis. That's what air passes through. Okay, the cricoid cartilage is a complete cartilage. You can see it starting down here, going around and up. And in the front, it's rather not very wide or not very long. But as you flip it around to the back side, you can see its length really increases. It goes from there to here. In front of the cricoid cartilage is another cartilage, which is called your arytenoid, number 4 there. Here the arytenoid is covered by muscle. Here the arytenoid, you can see it starts down, or it ends down here. This is the where it articulates with the cricoid, and it goes from number 4 to number 5. There's a tiny little number 5 there and a little piece of cartilage that sticks out there. And that cartilage is called the corniculate cartilage. Cornu, C-O-R-N-U, means horn. And so this little piece of cartilage, number 5, the corniculate cartilage, forms a little horn-like prong up top. In front of that is another piece of cartilage which you can't see, but you can see the little bump that it makes there and there. And that is called the cuneiform cartilage or cuneiform cartilage. So here is the cuneiform cartilage, and that is number 6 in this image. There and there. Apologize if the focus is a little off. There and there. This is your arytenoid. Oh, sorry, this is your corniculate, number 5. Number 4 is your arytenoid, cricoid, thyroid, hyoid bone. Finally, there's the epiglottic cartilage, which you can see part of here, but it's easier to see if we take this apart. Like so. Okay, so number 23 here is your epiglottic cartilage. You can see it there and there in profile. What are the other cartilages that we see in profile here, or bone? There is your hyoid bone, there and there. This is your thyroid cartilage, here and here. Notice we see it on the anterior surface in front, but we don't see it up here or up here, because remember, when we put the thyroid cartilage back together, the thyroid cartilage on the outside, the lateral surface, is here. But when we come up at the top, there is nothing to see. We can see a little bit of it draped by membrane over here, but that's it. There's nothing on the posterior surface to see for the thyroid cartilage. So the thyroid cartilage, all we see of it in cross-section is here and here. This and this, as well as this and this, are the cricoid cartilage. Here's the front of it, there's the back of it, and this again connects as a continuous ring, like that and that. The arytenoid cartilage, in this case, is this thin little white line that you see here, and the very tip of it there, and the very tip of it there, that's your cuneiform cartilage, forming that little bump. And then this little bump here, and this little bump here, are your cuneiform cartilages. With regard to ligaments, ligaments are pretty easy. The ligaments are named after what structures they're attaching. So you see here number 24, this one here and this one here. This ligament goes from this bone to that cartilage. This bone is the hyoid bone. This cartilage is the epiglottic cartilage. So this would be called the hyoepiglottic ligament, or you could call it the epiglottic hyoid ligament. It doesn't really matter. So here is your hyoepiglottic ligament connecting the hyoid bone with the epiglottic cartilage. What other ligaments can we find? Well, there's a ligament that connects the hyoid bone with the thyroid cartilage. So this would be called the thyrohyoid ligament. There and there. The first one they want you to look for is the thyrohyoid ligament. So we want to find the thyroid cartilage and the hyoid bone. That's this. Thyroid cartilage is here. Hyoid bone is here. So this is number one. Thyrohyoid ligament, thyrohyoid ligament. The next one they want you to find is the cricothyroid ligament, number two. Your cricoid cartilage is here. Thyroid cartilage is here. So that ligament right there is it. And that ligament right there is it. That's your cricothyroid ligament. The third ligament is your hyoepiglottic ligament, connecting the hyoid bone and the epiglottic cartilage, there and there. The fourth one is the thyroepiglottic ligament, connecting the thyroid cartilage with your epiglottis. That's number 25. This structure here and this structure here. So we can see 1, 2, 3, 4 ligaments, and those are the 4 ligaments they want you to see. The muscles are also sort of named the same way as the ligaments. For example, the first one they want you to find is your thyrohyoid muscle. So we want to find the thyroid cartilage and your hyoid bone. So we're looking for a muscle that goes from here to here. Oh, look at this nice little ligament here, this big broad ligament. What I showed you on the medial side, here it is on the lateral side, connecting the thyroid cartilage with the hyoid bone. This is your thyrohyoid ligament. Back to ligaments for a moment. The very first one they want you to find, thyrohyoid ligament. This here would be your cricothyroid ligament. Okay, back to muscles. Thyrohyoid muscle, here's your thyroid cartilage. There's your hyoid bone. So your thyrohyoid muscle would be this one here. Looks like it says number 15 on the model. Cricothyroid muscle goes from the cricoid cartilage to the thyroid cartilage. That would be this muscle right here, number 16 on the model. So this is your cricothyroid muscle, and this is your thyrohyoid muscle. Then the last muscle they want you to find is on the back side. It goes from your cricoid cartilage, which you can see here, all the way up to your arytenoid cartilage, much of which is buried by this muscle here. It's this muscle that you see here. This is called your cricoarytenoid muscle. There are more muscles here. You don't need to know these. These are just transverse arytenoides muscles, you can ignore those. Number 17 is your cricoarytenoid muscle. Okay, then they want you to look for tissue folds. Your epiglottic fold, your true vocal fold, your false vocal fold. Your epiglottic fold is basically this one here, number 31, that connects the side of your epiglottis with all of these little cuneiform and arytenoid and corniculate cartilages here. This fold right there, and this fold right here. That's your epiglottic cartilage, or that's your epiglottic fold. Then you notice there's a little slit here and a little slit here. These are your true and false vocal folds. The one in the front, number 27, is your false vocal fold, and the one in the back, really the posterior one, is your true vocal fold. So number 27 is the false vocal fold, number 29 is the true vocal fold. In between, there's a little space here called the laryngeal ventricle, and that acts as sort of a resonator for where, when air is coming through, it can be used to amplify sounds or your voice. Okay, I know that was a little quick, but that's the introduction to the larynx.